You are listening to Connection Quest, where every episode is a heartwarming journey to unravel the mysteries of love, intimacy, and the art of meaningful relationships. Join Miku as he explores the real, sometimes messy, always meaningful paths to building stronger, more vibrant romantic bonds. Forget quick fixes. We're digging into the heart of connection, understanding, communication, intimacy, and growing together. Ready to deepen your relationship journey? Let's
Hello,
begin.
everyone, and welcome to another episode of Connection Quest. I'm your host, Miku Lane, and today we have a very special guest, Dr. Bora Saik. I'm really excited about our conversation today because we're diving into a topic that underpins so much of our romantic lives: intimacy. Not just the physical kind, but all the layers and dimensions that come with it, Doctor. Bora, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you, Miku. I'm thrilled to be here. Intimacy is such a rich and complex topic, and I'm looking forward to unpacking it with you today.
Absolutely. Let's just dive right in. Last time, we touched on transforming conflict into connection, which in itself involves a lot of intimacy when you think about being open and vulnerable with a partner. I wonder, Bora, how do you define intimacy beyond the obvious physical aspect that most people immediately think of?
That's a great starting point. I like to think of intimacy as a multifaceted concept that includes emotional, intellectual, and spiritual dimensions, in addition to the physical. Emotional intimacy, for instance, involves the ability to share one's feelings and vulnerabilities openly. Intellectual intimacy is about being able to share ideas and thoughts, engaging in discussions that stimulate both partners' minds. And then there's spiritual intimacy, which connects you on a deeper level of values and beliefs. It's really about creating bonds across these different planes.
I love that, especially the part about intellectual intimacy. I suppose we often overlook how sharing thoughts and ideas, even disagreements, can bring a couple closer together. Do you think cultural expectations play a role in how we perceive and pursue intimacy?
Yes, culture deeply influences what we perceive as intimate. Think about how different cultures have unique expressions of love. Some are more expressive, others more reserved. This goes beyond romantic gestures to encompass emotional expression and vulnerability. In cultures that value stoicism, showing emotion can be perceived as a lack of self-control rather than a pathway to deep connection.
That's a really interesting point. How can individuals start to navigate these cultural narratives to foster deeper connections in their relationships?
Awareness is the first step. Once you recognize the cultural scripts you've inherited, you can choose which elements serve you and which do not. Engaging in open conversation with your partner about these expectations and finding a middle ground that respects both perspectives can be incredibly empowering.
So, in essence, it requires a degree of vulnerability to bring these conversations to the forefront?
Exactly. Vulnerability is at the heart of intimacy. When you allow yourself to be seen authentically, you invite others to do the same. It's about creating an atmosphere where mutual acceptance and understanding flourish, where both partners can say, "I see you, and I accept you as you are."
It sounds so rewarding, yet I can imagine it's quite frightening for many. What are some practical steps people can take to begin building these aspects of intimacy in their relationships?
Start small. If emotional intimacy feels daunting, perhaps begin with sharing something simple but meaningful about your day. Gradually, as trust and comfort build, you can delve into deeper conversations. For intellectual intimacy, set up a time to explore topics you both find enriching or even join a book club together. Spiritual intimacy might involve discussing your values or dreams for the future. The key is consistency and patience, not rushing into the deep end immediately.
That's solid advice. I think the patience part is crucial, because we live in this fast-paced world where everyone seems to crave immediate results. It's like planting a garden. You nurture it over time to see it blossom.
Precisely. And you also need to consider how past experiences shape one's approach to intimacy. Someone who's experienced betrayal might find it harder to open up, whereas someone from a supportive background might have an easier time doing so.
Good point. I suppose acknowledging and respecting each other's stories can be a form of emotional intimacy in itself.
Absolutely. Being a compassionate listener is a greatly underappreciated part of developing emotional intimacy. In practice, this means truly being present in the conversation, not just waiting your turn to speak.
It seems like all forms of intimacy require a willingness to be genuinely engaged and attentive. As we talk about these deeper topics, it reminds me how the intricacies of human relationships are both fascinating and complex. Do you have any final thoughts or advice for our listeners looking to deepen their intimacy with their partners?
I'd say intimacy is less about grand gestures and more about small, consistent acts of love and understanding. It's about carving out time for each other, valuing effective communication, and ensuring both partners feel seen and heard. Above all, remember that intimacy is a journey, not a destination, and it evolves as your relationship grows.
Thank you for that, Bora. It's been genuinely enlightening. And thank you to our listeners for joining us today. We hope you've taken some valuable insights from this discussion. Until next time, keep nurturing those connections.
Thank you, Miku. It's been a pleasure discussing these vital aspects of intimacy. I hope our conversation today has inspired listeners to explore and enjoy all facets of intimacy in their own lives.